We're live.
Happy Monday.
I got one on the hook.
Apparently, Mike is already fishing. He's
I actually had one in the box,
for
and
likes.
I never
don't feel like
actually
it's
opened it
gonna
up.
work.
What's up, boys?
Oh, not much.
Mike, Nick, how's it going, chat?
Rob? Nick?
I'm here.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly,
As far as I got today.
Honestly, I'm feeling that. It's been a long weekend. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, you were up camping all weekend. I saw your very beautiful nature pictures.
Yes. So camping and not quite camping because we stayed at a hostel. So a buddy of mine went up to upstate New York to do some hiking and to hike some Adirondacks, which was awesome. And then on the way back, I got to be my inner child and stop at Ticonderoga, New York, to where this dude recreated it by scale the entire Star Trek original series sets.
Oh, wow. I saw your pictures from that. That was cool.
Oh my god! And it's like totally officially licensed from Paramount. William Shatner goes there twice a year. The guy who put it together used to make costumes for the Next Generation. Like he created Will Wheaton's costume and stuff like that. Dude's also a Elvis impersonator, which is funny. But like room by room, the transporter room, the bridge, the corridor that they all run down whenever there's trouble. And I was showing these pictures to Seth when I got home, and then I'm like, so you got to see how hokey you got to see how hokey Star Trek was back before Daddy was born. So we watched an episode of the original show, and while I was doing that, I was showing Seth the pictures of the recreated set, and it looked just like the damn show. This guy was amazing.
Don't they have something like that set up in Vegas too? I thought they had like a Star Trek experience
official.
Or something.
It's not official and it's not licensed.
Okay.
This guy's stuff is officially licensed by Paramount as the only like official.
I was about to say because the only one that I knew of was in Vegas. That was the only one that I had known about. And I was like, how the hell did you get all the way over there from where you were at?
No. No, this is up in Ticonderoga. It is. I'm serious, man. It is unbelievable. So
no, it sounded pretty dope. And the pictures looked great. So did your hiking trip, too. That actually looked pretty great, too.
Oh, the hiking was amazing. Like we went up. So the Adirondacks go pretty much through the entire state of New York and at various parts. So driving up from Maryland, we stopped and did a kind of a smaller mountain hike, a place called Hadley Mountain, about 3,500 feet up. It was about a 2,500 elevation hike to about 3,500 up. Overseeing like the Hudson River and all this really great mountain line.
3,500 is a pretty good altitude. If you're not used to it, you can start to like get a little winded up there just from the oxygen.
It got chillier as you got up there.
Of course it did. You're at 3,500 feet.
And then at the top of this thing is this big fire tower that you walk like that's where rangers used to spot fires and whatnot. So you go up this tower and then you can see everything. So then the next day we did a 15-mile round trip hike to this place called Avalanche Lake, which is in the middle of this Adirondack area in Lake Placid. So where the 1980 Olympics were. And it
wasn't that the movie also Giant Crocodile?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is probably what it is better known for at this point. And it was just the pictures that I took just could not do justice to what I saw this weekend. It was just absolutely freaking amazing. It was just an outstanding weekend. How are you guys doing?
Me?
Yeah, what'd you do? I always go last on this thing.
You know, it was a very quiet, very chill weekend for everyone, I think. What did I
just
do?
lost Mike.
Oh, I guess. Okay.
Hang on, there he is.
Well, I had
What'd
a
you
great
do?
story about my weekend, but
I went to move my screen over so I could bring the chat over and accidentally hit log in, and it took me to a login screen and took me out.
See, he got bored with your weekend when you said it was a long, relaxing weekend.
Right? I'm sorry, Mister. Did you hike the Adirondacks this weekend, Rob?
I didn't. I sat on my ass all weekend long. I felt good for it. So
that sounds glorious.
There you go. Hey, I'm not judging.
I actually, what did I do? I actually started recording some stuff for some new videos. I felt incredibly productive having done that. And that's it. I didn't do anything this weekend, which is the best kind of weekend to have, I think, because I always feel like the more stuff you do on the weekend, even if you're having fun, just makes the weekend go by faster. So I'd rather just almost just sit and do nothing, or at least as little as possible, to just make it last as long as possible. So
there you go.
And CM Retro posted pics, by the way. Lots of pics. There are pics on Twitter. There are pics on Facebook. There are pics.
I heard plenty about Ghosts and Goblins all weekend long. I forgot about that.
Nice.
Good job, by the way. GG.
My weekend was spent wrapping up stuff on a brand new channel that launched today. Getting stuff up there, getting a couple things converted. Kind of played hooky on Friday because I had been on call all week and I had been flipping from days to nights all week and I was just done. So I used a sick day there. Got a set up a couple of custom things to use in the videos and got a couple of videos done. Started doing some editing work this weekend on the Punch Out video that I put on hold a long time so I could get this whole thing ramped up. So I've been editing on that this weekend and some today, actually, before we came in. I didn't do a ton of gaming this weekend. I did a little bit of Chrono Trigger and mostly kind of played a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima with a buddy of mine. We got back into that this weekend because I was hanging out with him on Friday. So we went out, grabbed a bite to eat, and then went back to his place and just kind of drank and played that. And then watched some anime and stuff like that, and I passed out. But we're going to grill out on Saturday. And my wife took an on-call shift from somebody, and she was on this 17-hour call. So I ended up cooking dinner and doing a bit of cleaning and taking care of the dogs and just kind of handling things while she was on calls. And then Sunday we were going to try to do something there, and then by the time we got ready for everything, it started raining, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not going to grill this weekend. So that never materialized. So that was pretty much my weekend. So I got 3 more windows this week that I got to do starting tonight, from 1 o'clock in the morning on till whenever they're done. So it's gonna be a long week.
I feel for you, man.
A long week. On the upside, the channel is set up. I'm if you guys notice some content missing on this channel, that's because it's moving to that channel. I'll put a link a couple of times in chat so you guys know where it's gonna be if you want to watch it. If you missed it, whatever. The channel's called Geekstorian. I launched it specifically so I could separate out a lot of the history content that I like making that I feel doesn't really get. Oh, that's the wrong link. I do that all the time. I do that all the time, man. I do. It kills me.
Work.
I put my freaking statistics link in there instead of the actual link, as I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this link will work, and it doesn't work. So what that channel's for is because I don't feel like the history content fits with a lot of what I do on this channel, at least not the mainstay of it, which is kind of streaming, which is what I'm going to try to do more of on this channel, at least an extra day a week, if not more. And on top of that, I'll have product reviews and stuff like Evercade and stuff like that will be on here. So those things will stay here, and the history content will move over there. So I'm kind of separating that.
You started with a bang too, an old game.
Yeah. I started with a new series called Moments in Gaming History, and that's where I'm going into various different what I think are important moments in video game history. Doing some research on some of them, and some of them that may just pop in my head that I feel like are important. But I'm trying to stick to more, I guess, well known or more key moments at the moment. So I don't know how long that series will run. Hopefully a while. And then there's another new series that'll come out on Wednesday. The first one of those will pop out on Wednesday. And that one is called Gaming Oddities. So that'll be any kind of oddity in gaming. Right now I'm focusing on different peripherals and controllers, which is why this is kind of fortuitous tonight. That we're doing this, because it kind of coincides with stuff that's coming out on that channel. And then each week I will be migrating one of my video game history stuff over to that channel as well, and putting up new ones along with game mechanics as they come up. So game mechanics will move there and game history will move there. So those will be migrating over.
Hater says, ooh, a food channel.
Yeah, everybody seems to want a food channel from me for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh,
but they all want like a food channel.
People on
What's up,
YouTube
Scrambles?
love watching people on YouTube eat. That's just
Yeah, I don't understand
that. Or cook. That's
Jam wants eats
all
with
of my
cash.
subscriptions are either video game channels or food channels.
Taters wants
you
a
know
food
what?
channel.
Yeah. A lot of my channels are food channels.
We do watch a decent amount of food channels, but they're mostly usually like cooking channels, not channels where people just eat.
Yeah,
they're cooking channels.
They're cooking channels also, but I also like to see them eat the food that they've just spent 20 minutes showing how to eat.
Well, yeah, they'll do that on the channel. So I mean, they're eating some on the channel, but it's not like, completely focused around them just eating. I think they call that a mukbang, which is a terrible word.
Okay,
by
yeah,
the way.
when you put it like
that
then
word.
yes, I don't like those kind of food channels, but
it doesn't. I mean, even the word just doesn't sound right.
No,
Yeah, I don't even like that word. It's like one of the British slang words for kissing is called snogging. I'm like, who thought of that reprehensible word for something so nice?
Snogging.
And cooking is absolutely an art form, but you can do it by the directions and still come up with something very good too. Very Lego. It's very Lego in that aspect.
It is. But it's also great when you get those, because you get them. You get the Hello Fresh. I get the Home Chef.
Yeah, matter of fact, I cooked one of those on Saturday and it actually came out really good. I did a burger recipe that we had with some like potato fries and stuff like that. So
this chicken with hazelnut butter, and I mean,
there's all sorts of crazy sauces and stuff that they'll send you with, so you can learn. It's actually kind of cool.
I love it.
So we have a cool what we hope is going to be a cool show for tonight. I may dart in and out of the room because I have some like rather bulky arcade sticks and other sticks.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. Is wide and long.
Oh damn! I gotta, and you know what? I've got to run upstairs in a minute and get a console fighting stick that Nick, I think you will love, and I forgot to grab it earlier, but I'll get it.
We will take turns starting off so the other two can entertain. Yeah. I don't have any in front of me right now. I know you guys already brought some in that you wanted to show up, but tonight we just wanted to talk about some of our, and Mike has a ton sitting in front of him. A bunch of different arcade, either not just arcade sticks, but just controllers and interface devices in general that we particularly thought were great over time and currently.
Or are just weird and noteworthy. That's kind of
just weird and quirky. There's chainsaw controllers, there's katana controllers, there's power gloves and all sorts of craziness.
And
robots and fishing rods, and then there's my go-to standby of my 8-bit controller that I use all the time.
Oh yeah,
that are just good third-party controllers, and they make those in all kinds of different shapes and sizes.
Oh yeah, like the 8-bit Saturn controller.
That is such a weird Sega controller for me. I'm so used to seeing those in black.
This is the Japanese color. The Japanese Saturn was white.
See, I like the Genesis one. Look on that one better, which is weird because I like the Famicom Super NES one better because of the colored buttons on it. But I prefer the Genesis one in that one. Just weird.
Yeah.
Mike, where's the cord on that?
The cord on what?
Is that one wireless?
Saturn controller.
That's a wireless, my friend.
It's a
Okay, so
first-party
that's
wireless
that. Well,
controller.
that's an 8-bit
No.
one,
It's
so
not-
he
it's
can
not
use it as
first-party.
Bluetooth or plug
is
it
it
in
8-bit
through
though?
USB-C.
Yeah, it's 8-bit. It's 8-bit.
Okay.
And it's licensed. It's officially licensed.
Yeah, they have a few of those actually.
Oh, I
No, I
love
have
On
one
their
of those
site.
too.
They have a
And this
lot of
one's
really
not
good
the
stuff on there,
Bluetooth.
dude.
So this one's not the Bluetooth. This one's the 2.4.
Yeah, even Taters is like, that white Sega controller is weird, and that's the same thing I thought because I'm not used to seeing a white controller from Sega.
It's
Well, outside the Dreamcast, the Dreamcast one was white.
Well, yeah, the Dreamcast one was white, but the import Saturn stuff was all white.
Banger, we were right. I'm sorry, catching up on chat.
I did not. By the way, I did not tweet this out yet. Hang on.
Oh my god.
Right.
Dreamcast Millennium 2000 controller.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that one. I just had my base ones, and those are good enough. The Dreamcast controller to me was always brilliant and weird at the same time. Like where the cable connected, I thought was really weird.
Yeah.
I sort of understood why they did it because of the way they put the VMU in there. But I also found it very strange because you always had to loop it back and hook it.
Yes, because at the bottom, you're gonna find a kind of a constant theme with me tonight. Back in the day, I know people hated these, or at least hated the brand, but I was a huge Mad Catz guy.
Oh, Mad Catz was hit or miss, dude. Even to this, well,
I
think they're still sort of around.
They
were always sketchy.
They tried to make a comeback, and I don't think they
So
really
it
did.
made my hand hurt.
But there in the 2000s, Mad Catz made some.
Are they
great
re-releasing
stuff.
that Scepter? Because I've heard a couple people have done that. I
Yeah,
know
I
there's
think-
one for the Switch that's been dropped. I think I
Yeah.
know a couple people that have it,
Sega,
and I don't know
thought
if
they
8-Bito's
did that.
trying to do one.
I thought Sega was doing it.
Or is Sega officially doing it?
I thought that they did.
Okay, you were saying. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping up a chat as you were talking. My bad.
Oh, the PS5 controller. You know what? Honestly, of the PlayStation controllers, that is my favorite. It fits the best in my hand. I was never a DualShock fan, with one exception. I do have Logitech made a set of both Xbox and PlayStation 2, OG Xbox and PlayStation 2 wireless controllers. They were not fantastic, but for the time, they were really well made, and they're nice weight, they're really well made, and I got to tell you, this was a comfortable PlayStation controller.
Very heavy.
I would, yes,
See, that looks better than the original PlayStation controller, and I'll tell
It
you why.
does.
Because I always hated the original. And actually, till this day, I still hold this against the PlayStation controller line. Is that sunken D-pad?
yes.
Which
this does
for
not
any kind
have.
of fighting game or tight controls on diagonals, that sunken D-pad is kind of a nightmare. And the PS5 one is actually worse because it's that glossy color from the PSP.
Yeah,
and
I'm
so
okay
it's
with it.
easy for your finger. It's easy for your hand to slip
So
on it.
the thing about these that made these so nice is that they brought the handles down so that you could get your hands wrapped around it. It was really a tight feeling controller. I was always more of a fan of the asymmetrical sticks than the symmetrical sticks. So I still have this thing where I've got to go this way with my
It took me a
thumb.
long time to get used to the symmetrical sticks, and now that I do, it's almost just as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than the Xbox ones, which were asymmetrical, which I generally preferred for FPSs until I finally got used to the Sony one. Now it just doesn't matter.
No, and that's the thing about the PS5, the DualShock 5, is that one just because of the way they designed it, it's a lot more natural. And I don't have nearly the...
Yeah, the DualShock 5 is probably the best one that they've designed yet overall. I don't like the D-pad on it still, and I liked the textured D-pad they had on the 4 better than the 5. I understood the look they were going for. They didn't want to use that. I still think it was better for the texturing. I was never the biggest fan of the PSP's D-pad.
No.
One, because it was janky, and two, because that clear plastic finish to it.
I was fine with the material. It was kind of. I did not like the fact that it was on the same side. Like, it made Metal Gear Portable Ops unplayable because it was on the same side as the thumbstick, and on some functions you actually had to use both. So that I don't know.
Yeah, the PSP
I didn't really have
was designed kind of weird. The Vita was significantly better.
I didn't have a problem with though, and I didn't. I never actually got a Vita, so
I did have the Vita. The Vita was a significant improvement over.
But those were little thumbsticks, right?
Yeah. They had little thumbsticks and a D-pad.
I still liked my PSP. The
PSP was great. I love the PSP. The D-pad was just jank, dude. Like, I had Darkstalkers. I want to say it was Resurrection on there, and I played the hell out of the game, but the D-pad broke on me multiple times. I literally had to open it up and put things underneath it to make it make contact with the sensors. It broke. I went through like 2 or 3 of those because the D-pad would constantly break. It was bad. It was a bad design, just from a mechanical standpoint, not just the texture of it or the fact that it was sunken. It just had issues in general. But we were going to talk about controllers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So here's the 8-bit controller I brought. This is for the Genesis.
Oh yeah.
I really like. They actually kind of modeled it out to the Saturn controller pretty clearly. And this is I actually have multiple 8-bit Do controllers. This is by far the most controlled one. This is the it's not the Bluetooth one, but it's
the 2.4 gig.
Yes, that's what it is.
See, I've got their SNES one with the dual analogs.
To the other consoles, I would actually like to use that on the analog Super NT, which I have, which
Scepter likes your M30.
It's a great controller. It's probably the best one that they made. I have the was it the SN30? That's the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah. I've got that. I really like that one actually. I think that's a really good controller.
I can't see for crap anymore. What's the model on this?
And this one is their Pro 2 that has these little swooped out lines on it. And I like this one's really comfortable. It's pretty much the main one I use right now, just because I like the button layout. The 6-button layout is fine, but I find I prefer the buttons like this if I'm going to be playing anything outside of a fighter. I just find them easier to reach.
Yeah, I can see that.
Roland Walker, more like Roland ass.
What I love about these though, the 8-bit dudes, they have no lag. They no lag. Oh no, the retro bit. This is the retro bit. I'm sorry. These have no lag, and that's a beautiful thing. Like I did a video on this when I got it. It was great. And it works great with everything that doesn't need the analog controller.
I stand by that.
Still love it. Still one of I will. This is a deceptively comfortable controller.
That thing always looks like a hot mess to me every time I see it.
It does.
I've never held one, but it always looks like a mess.
I
see where they got the Dreamcast controller from because it's basically almost the same design.
Like my thumb is just naturally. I mean, it is probably as close to a perfect thumb placement. I would even say it is a more perfect thumb placement than the Xbox controllers were. And the Xbox controllers were very close. But like, no matter how I gripped it, my thumb always was on this controller. The only thing is that it wasn't always compatible with everything. So you had the switch at the bottom to switch it from analog and then back to digital because not every game used it. And in fact, I ended up trading in, and it was a stupid move. I had the original Daytona USA. I traded in that version, which turned out to be quite collectible, for the Championship Circuit Edition. But the Championship Circuit Edition used there we go.
Rob's got one too. There we go.
Yeah, it's the same controller, guys. It's just in my hands now.
Yeah, see,
I handed it. If you know what a Dreamcast controller feels like, you know what this controller.
Then you know what that one feels like. Yeah, seeing the back of it, I can see where they got the idea for the Dreamcast controller, because that came out that was their console right before the Dreamcast.
And one day we will find out what this was for. Why the controller cable came out. Oh, please tell me you've got something, Rob.
Oh no, I never realized it actually.
Oh, what's up, Mr. Gamer?
Yeah, it actually, you can take it off. It detaches.
How you doing, by the way? Good to see you.
Never knew why. Never knew why it detached. Yeah.
I imagine it was just one of those early pull cables, like the Xbox one.
I wouldn't be shocked.
It would
they
have
actually had the idea.
Disconnects.
Because you have to push this. There's a tab there. You have to.
Oh, you have to push the tab down. Oh, I have no idea.
Because I almost guarantee that had the Saturn actually been around for long enough, they would have actually put made a transceiver that locked into here, and then a receiver that went to your systems. That's probably what they're actually planning for.
That could be.
But then why wouldn't they didn't do anything like that for was there a first party wireless Dreamcast controller?
No.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember the wireless Dreamcast controller.
I don't. Right.
I was Gamer saying the 6-button Genesis controller was his favorite. That's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah,
actually.
That's what.
I know a lot of people swear by that controller up and down. They love that thing.
I just swear at that controller.
Well, yeah.
I
swear at all my controllers.
Yeah, you sure do.
It's a great controller.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not an uncomfortable controller. Matter of fact, the Genesis controller itself is not an uncomfortable controller. No. And that looks more comfortable, honestly, because it's a little smaller.
It's not. I don't think I could. My if you notice where my thumb goes to, it goes kind of to the right of almost gets to the start button. So for somebody with longer fingers, larger hands, it isn't.
See, that would be fine for me. I mean, that's like people who love the Duke controller for the Xbox because they had huge hands, and if it fit them fine. Yeah. Whereas I prefer the Japanese version once I got my hands on it to the Duke.
This was a badass controller.
I used that controller for years until I got my hands on the Japanese one, and then I never looked back.
I wanted once. I wanted the one that Hyperkin redesigned for the Xbox
controllers
One.
My dominatrix. Guitar Hero is the best controller. A lot of people. Okay, we need to define controller because I've had multiple questions about this during here, and we gotta wait for Rod to get back because we have to go into this argument because we have an argument every time we do one of these. This is part of the show.
All right, here he comes.
Saturn 3D controllers underrated, and the triggers on the bottom work great for flippers. Yeah, I could see that. I'll say a Saturn 3D controller reminds me exactly of the Dreamcast. It's like early Dreamcast controller.
Hold on, let me grab it because I brought my Mad Catz Dreamcast controller. Let me grab an actual Dreamcast.
I think the Saturn one actually had more buttons though than the Dreamcast. What's up, Drip Pool? Good to see you, man. Big Block's in here, by the way.
Oh, what's up, brother Dread? What's up, brother Big Block? Sorry, guys, I'm not in the chat as much as I want to be tonight.
Well, we're all running around grabbing controllers.
Yeah, grabbing controllers. So, all right. So you know what? Now that you say it,
I'm telling you, man, it's like an early one.
Now that you're saying it, now that I'm looking at it side by side, you're absolutely right. The
only difference is the Saturn one has more buttons,
and the backs are
almost identical,
very much alike.
But you're showing off the biggest flaw with the Dreamcast controller.
Absolutely, the cabling on the bottom.
Yeah. So, but at least it had a place
a weird little Band-Aid,
to pop it up there. But you're right.
No love for the Joy-Cons. No.
Negative. None.
No real love for the Joy-Cons, man. I tried those when I first got my Switch. Brian. I tried docking them and playing with that. What they called it, the dog face controller when you had them hooked into that thing. And I tried that, and my biggest problem with it wasn't necessarily the analog placement or anything like that. It was the triggers and bumpers on the top. They were so close together, even with my fingers. Half the time I would hit the wrong button there, which was a nightmare on something like Breath of the Wild. So I immediately went out and bought a Pro controller, and that was significantly more comfortable for playing most games I found. So I kind of quickly moved away from that. That was just me.
Now,
You out see him? Oh wow, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Holy cow. Dude.
Later, Chris.
By the way, Chris, we got to get you on here one night. We've been talking about it. We got to set aside a night that we can get you on here because we want to talk toys again. And I definitely want you on here for that. But have a great night, man. Thanks for popping in.
Now here's the other. So while you guys didn't like,
a lot of people really love the Atari 2600 stuff. I never got much into that one. The NES Max was amazing for some stuff.
See, my Atari controller, I wish I still had it.
Oh.
Was more of a.
I had that.
We called it the ice cream. Ooh, wow!
I love that thing, man.
I do not like there's no what's it called when it kind of snaps back into position.
For ice hockey, that thing was brilliant.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the
great
shape
for
of the
ice
controller.
hockey.
It actually feels really surprisingly comfortable. I like the idea of the turbo buttons that are built in. But yeah, it's this little disc thing. I haven't actually tried to do real gaming with it. I should try to beat Mario with this one of these days. See if
I don't know if I'd use it for stuff like Mario, but things like ice hockey where you wanted to move in like 8 different directions.
Or actually, you know what?
It was really good for that.
Or a Gradius kind of game, like where
it might be good for Gradius. I bet you it's good for stuff like Tecmo Bowl and stuff like that. Some of the sports games. I bet you it's pretty good for that too.
All right, so just brought up the Max, and I had it locked and loaded. So sorry to.
No, that was awesome. I had not seen one of those in a very long time, and I was not a Nintendo guy, so it's been a very long time.
I had that, and I had the Advantage as well. And the Advantage was a great arcade stick for the NES.
Wolfpack just nailed it. Wolfpack has won the night. You have to put his comment up.
Hold on.
The one right above Scepter. Yes, it looks like oh
my God, he's right. Oh my God!
Oh my goodness!
He's absolutely right. Oh my God! I think they actually designed it after the Dreamcast controller. That is messed up.
Dude,
that's messed up.
Wow. But while you got this up, there was one. So the big.
Oh, go ahead.
For me,
sorry.
No, it's okay. The big flaw for me in this controller was, and the difference between the Saturn and the Dreamcast controller is where the triggers are placed. For some reason, they're down lower. It's hard to. Sorry, the angles. It's down so low that I've got to like crimp.
You know, that didn't bother me at the time, but I have smaller hands than you, so I think it's just a difference in hand size.
So not to come back to my Madcast controller, but there was a reason that I really liked that controller.
I hate that D-pad.
I love the D-pad.
I hate that D-pad.
Oh, that D-pad, because it's actually, you know how we complained about the sunken D-pad? That is the anti-sunken D-pad.
I know, but it's so flat. It doesn't really have any right texture to it. It just
no, it does.
I'm really picky on D-pads. If you hadn't noticed,
If you have to look at it, I get what you're saying. Let me see if I can get the right angle. No, that is not a flat D-pad. You can see.
Okay, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It looks janky.
No, it's really not. It's really, and it is a much more comfortable controller for me. So I just, and that's why I said.
I forgot. Yeah, they put stuff like Quake and Unreal on the Dreamcast. I can't imagine playing that with a controller.
Nope.
Primarily because I had.
Where are you, Sister Carla?
Because I was on. I was on PC as well. Oh, there's the mouse.
I don't have my keyboard anymore.
ITV has off. You keep taunting her with typing of the dead, and then you never do it.
So here's what I'm going to do, because now that I got emulation running on the VCS, I'm going to emulate the keyboard.
The Sonic VMU, man. That Sonic VMU game was great. It was so fun.
So, I don't have
the Wii U controller is not as bad as you think it is when you're using it with the right game. When you're using it with the right game, that tablet works fine. It's awkward. It's a little bulky, but it works just fine.
Oh, just like this one. Did you already guys Did I hear you guys talk about the Duke?
Yeah, we talked about the Duke a little bit. We talked about the Duke a little bit.
How
yeah.
can you not find that D-pad just?
Oh, I didn't like that D-pad either.
Oh, that is sublime. It's the beautiful D-pad.
I don't know about that, but I do like how cheesy the controller is. I didn't really have an Xbox, but I had to buy this controller because it's just so hideous. And
it's
pretty god awful in retrospect. I agree. But the Duke tried to make a comeback. They even had like an LED screen on it.
Hyperkin made it for the Xbox One. So this is and Rob, this is my launch Xbox Duke.
Those things were tanks, though. Those things would not die.
No.
Oh, it was a super sturdy controller.
The shitty part about the Hyperkin controller,
we broke controllers to better elephant two generations. What's
up, Panda? The Hyperkin one they made for the Xbox One is wired only. If they had made a wireless one, I'd have bought it day one. But I don't do. Yes.
Oh my God,
yes,
Sector's right.
Was.
That D-pad's modeled after the Sidewinder. It totally is.
Yes, it was. And I wish I still had my Sidewinder force feedback joystick for the PC. I had that back in the day, and that was an amazing, amazing stick.
Can I just cut in something real quick?
Mouse and keyboard totally counts as a controller.
Right. Because we haven't actually talked about.
I will die on the hill.
Get off the screen. Get off the screen. We haven't even talked about what the actual best game controller is. It's this one. This is officially, and I'm sorry to bring it up so early. But this is actually the best game controller.
Oh, you're trying to go to end game already.
You are trying to. Okay, hold on.
I just like the attention. Really, is what it is.
You know what? I got him, Nick. Also, so. Hold on, Nick. I got him. Which, by the way, not to.
Microsoft clearly agreed that this was a very comfortable controller because you can't deny that they modeled their controller after this one. So
you can deny that.
I will not let you deny that one.
Actually, you can kind of see the design elements in there for the Xbox.
Yeah, not so much the Xbox One, but the Xbox 360. When I started playing that one, I was like, "Oh, this feels very familiar." There's nothing wrong with that. It's a great. They're still using that design now. Nintendo's first party wireless controllers are pretty much almost identical. It seems like to the
Xbox GameCube controller is so good that they still sell it for your Switch today.
Yeah.
It has been compatible with every generation of console since the GameCube. It has been one of the most popular controllers. So it is argument time in the stream because there have been discussions on what constitutes a controller. Power pad, Rod the Robot, Rollin' Rocker, the action force thing where you could put your hand over the little sensor thing. U-Force, that was it. What's up, Brian? Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Back for the Dead's in here.
They're back.
Panda showed up. We had him on screen for a little bit there. But I'm kind of making this pretty lenient because there's been a lot of things that have been used with the controllers. In theory, you can kind of consider the Kinect, but I kind of discontinue the Kinect a little bit, mostly because it's just body motion. It's reading. It's not actual anything you have in your hand per se.
Yeah, kind of aren't you the controller?
So, yeah.
Yes, you are the controller. That
was the Steel Battalion thing. I never owned that, man. That thing was almost $200 plus on its own.
I got a friend that owns one, and
that thing's a monster.
That thing lights
Duke is
up.
for real, man. Oh my god.
That thing lights up when you fire it up. It's wild.
Yeah, I've seen some mock-up controllers of various different things that I almost bought because I'm a sucker for like a flight stick and haven't owned one in years.
Now, does anyone in the chat have the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw?
The chainsaw controller?
I wish I had one. I remember seeing it at GameStop back when Resident Evil 4 was actually a current game. The GameCube version. And I wish I bought it. It seems like that would be a controller that Zombie would have.
Well, there's that one, and there's a Katana controller too, which I thought was almost even crazier. Just because it's so narrow, it looked really awkward to use as a result. I have those on a list of things to cover, actually, moving forward on the new channel thing, which I'm going to pimp that link out again. I'm going to be doing those a lot tonight. Sorry, guys. I have no shame.
By the way,
No shame.
Big Block says the best looking light gun for him was the Odyssey light rifle. I still like my it's cheesy, but I still like my Konami Justifier.
You know, I remember that one from
Lethal Enforcer.
Lethal Enforcer, and didn't Police Force use that as well?
I don't know, maybe, but I got this. I got this with my Sega CD version of Lethal Enforcers.
And Rob had one too. Which one did you have?
Oh,
this is the System Product 2, whatever that means.
I have no idea what that means.
It
looks fun. I had a couple of housings for the Wiimote controllers, and I had the NES Zapper and then the Super Scope. And honestly, I love the Super Scope was fun. It had no games for it, but it was fun.
I had, what the hell was the Genesis one called?
Oh, my wife is bringing in random controllers now.
Nice. The Menacer. I had the Menacer. That was the Genesis light gun.
Yes, the Menacer always looked pretty neat. I always kind of like the look of the Zapper a little bit better.
Yeah, the Zapper was a great. Yeah. I mean, the Zapper.
I just thought it looked a little nicer. They functioned the same. I just thought it looked better.
I'll tell you what. One of the nicest looking light guns was for the Master System. That was a
later, No Story Gamer. Thanks for popping in, man. Xbox Mad Cat's Blaster. I don't remember that one.
Oh,
is that the one you had up?
Yeah, that's the one I've got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
that's a fun looking one. I didn't even know they had a blaster for the Dreamcast.
It really is, and the Rumble Pack would fit in here if you didn't want to use the VMU.
I don't remember any real shooter games on the Dreamcast.
Virtual Cop.
Did it have Virtual Cop on there?
Time Crisis?
No, it did not. House of the Dead was on there. House of the Dead 2. Something else.
Point Blank, Dreamcast game.
Which one?
Point Blank.
I think that was on there. There you go, Carl. Yes, Dreamcast. But yeah, and this thing, this was great. It also had auto fire on it if you needed it. It had a little.
Silent Scope is what Dripple's saying. So
Silent Scope was. I thought that was PlayStation because that was really Konami, but they might have.
So we're gonna go ahead and bring up the most epic controller ever's. This abomination.
Is that the Wiimote Plus?
Yeah, that's the Wii. This is the Wiimote before it had the Wiimote Plus built in with the stupid little rubber cover thing.
Oh yeah.
They eventually shrunk all this down, and you can barely even see it because my lights are reflecting off this white so badly. And honestly, as a motion controller, this thing is not terrible. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sure.
It actually works good for what they really intended it to do. Now, I hate this version of it with this extension piece that actually gave it the more one-to-one motion because this was
especially when you have to hold it like this because it then just
when you got to hold it sideways, this becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
When they integrated it into the main controller, which I have a black one like this that has it integrated and cuts off this part, it's significantly better. And the fact that you had to not only put this thing in, but then you had to kind of lock it in place, and it was just a huge pain in the butt. And this little silicone thing that they made because people couldn't stop breaking their TVs. If you miss this generation of console, just look up Wiimote broke my TV.
Hang on
YouTube. You'll find numerous videos of people putting one of these straight through their TV.
Why did YouTube censor? Why was Nintendo selling magic wands?
Are we not supposed to see magic?
I don't know.
I saw that.
Selling?
I have no idea.
What was the term?
So then I also have to bring up the PlayStation Move.
And the network this.
Yeah.
Little steering wheel thing.
I did not grab any of my Wii or GameCube.
Yeah,
and I loved this attachment. This came with like Link's crossbow training. And this thing was kind of dope because you could kind of hold it like this and shoot. And it was great for Link crossbow training. I always wanted them to do more Light-Zone style games for the Wii because it seemed perfect.
Yeah.
So the Wii motion controllers, those are crazy.
Well, no, this is the PlayStation Move controller.
Oh, that's it. The PlayStation Move. I'm sorry.
And I got to tell you, I was not convinced that this was like this. You know, the joke on this. You know, right?
What's the joke?
What it looks like.
A controller?
Okay.
He just wants you to say it.
I know he does. I know he does, and I'm not gonna, because this is a family show.
Call the remote
Yeah,
controller
and
gun. I'm like, if somebody would have been accidentally pregnant because of that.
Yes. But this is really accurate. And when I was one of the games that I got for my PSVR is Iron Man, the Iron Man game, and it uses strictly the Move controllers, and they are really accurate, especially when you're using because you got to use this with the camera.
Yeah, and that's
Really
why the
good.
front. That's why the top of that lights up in the first place, is to kind of help the camera track it.
That and it lights up different colors for whatever you're
For which player? Yes.
Yeah. So
For whatever reason, I was not expecting the top of the ball to be squishy.
It is.
It looks like a ping pong ball, but
it is.
When I got that,
totally squishy. So the most PG version would be to call them disco sticks.
Oh yeah, Ryan, that's easy to do. I thought I ruined a couple of mine too because I left batteries in them.
Yeah,
that's a big problem, dude. That's a legit problem.
Later, Hasselhoff. All right.
Not Hasselhoff. Thanks for popping in, man.
Brother Hasselhoff. So,
hey, grips for her pleasure.
Speaking of grips, I got to show you.
I love our chat.
I know. I got to show you guys a couple of Xbox controllers that I love. So, this you might have done better with, Nick, and I know once again it's not favorite company, but Mad Catz again. They made a Duke controller that actually has, Hey,
it was the size of the Duke after I got used to the Japanese controller.
This was
more than
slightly
shape.
smaller. And then Mad Catz did make an S controller that was really nice too. But my all-time favorite Xbox controller, and I still use it absolutely to this day, and you'll see me use it on stream when I stream Xbox.
See, I'm not immune to Mad Catz. I've got like a couple of GameCube.
Oh, that's a nice
bird.
Oh, that's a nice controller.
These are like Waitebirds. They are dog crap compared to the official Waitebird, but they work pretty well. If you ever hold a real Waitebird and use an actual Waitebird, you will hate this thing.
That middle button must be purple, isn't it? What color is that middle button?
What, this one here?
The big one. No, the big button.
Oh, that's actually green. It's just not showing up well because of my green screen.
Because of your green screen.
Yeah, that's the A. That's the A button, which is almost always green on these, and this works fine. There's nothing really wrong with this. It just feels a little cramped compared to the original GameCube controller.
I could understand that.
And the buttons are a little close. That's even for my hands. You would absolutely hate this controller with your hand size. The Waitebird would be a much better fit for you. And that was my preference. I got these when I lost my Waitebird. This was the best I could find, so I got a couple of these.
Gotcha. So this is my favorite Xbox controller, period. And the only one I will currently use. This is by Nyko, which also made some great controllers. This is actually called the Nyko Airflow. There are, in the grips, each grip has a small fan, and you have.
I've seen that gimmick before because it keeps your hands from sweating as much because of the fans.
And I am here to tell you two things. Number one, it works, and I've had this and there's a big fan on the back for the intake to blow the air out.
Right.
I have used this controller for the better part of 15 years. And it is also one of the most comfortable S-style controllers that I've ever used. Even more comfortable than the actual S controller. Just everything about this. This is, how I talked about with the Saturn controller that my thumb just naturally goes to the stick, to the analog. The same thing here. My thumb just naturally rests right on the analog stick. And it's so good. Is it really necessary?
I would say no, personally, because I've used controllers for years without it.
I for long gaming sessions, I have. You guys. Haters.
And see, this is one of the ones that I got late in the 360's life that I really
That's a
enjoyed.
nice controller.
And this is just a nice chromed blue controller.
That's a beautiful controller.
It shows fingerprints. I've got another 360 controller. Make a grab. It's a Chun-Li fighting pad, and that thing's great too. It's cabled, 6 buttons on the front. That thing's a lot of fun. And I have a couple of like big bulky arcade sticks. It may take me a while to go grab. But let's go ahead and do the argument of what constitutes a controller. Are you guys constituting the? Do you guys consider Rob the robot a controller? And do you consider the gamepad, the power pad, and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I do too. This is actually a very short argument.
Rob the robot, no. The power glove, yes. Any of the other peripherals, no.
See, I actually kind of consider Rob a little bit of a controller because you can set him up to press buttons for you for certain games. So he literally can press buttons.
That's not, but he's pressing buttons on a controller. Don't you have to put a controller on him?
Yes.
Then the controller is the controller. Rob is the peripheral.
Why are you hating on Rob?
I'm not.
Yeah, come on.
I
man.
thought Rob.
why you
I thought gyroscope. I thought
why you hating on
gyroscope.
Rob?
Really
I would
cool.
say this is a controller. This is a controller.
Yes.
This is one big giant.
Yes.
I have 3 of these, and I don't think any of them will actually work.
I think that is a controller.
All right, so I want to argue with you, but you're probably right on Rob.
Don't hate the player, hate the controller.
So
I think you're right.
Me,
I don't think Rob is a controller. It's
to me, if it doesn't have buttons and a way to control that you control, I don't consider it a like.
Rob
I
is
don't
basically like a broom that you've been
cons-
using to reach across the room and press a button. So the broom is not a controller. So
right, like I don't consider a light gun a controller.
Yeah,
because there's all you do is just point and click. There's a button.
Well, technically, you just press a button on a controller, but I mean,
True.
it's still a controller.
Damn it!
I mean,
All right.
you press and click on a controller.
Yeah. That's true.
You just have more buttons usually on a controller than you do a light gun, and the light gun gets around that by you just aiming it at whatever you want to click on.
That's true. So I guess what would constitute that versus an add-on would be whether or not. So, and that's Rob does things.
Robophobics. That's it. You guys are robophobics.
I don't fear Rob.
See, Dread pulls with me. Light gun's a controller.
So, but,
damn.
yeah, I no, I got it. But I like the power pad's a controller to me. The Dance Dance Revolution pad's a controller to me. Like the Sega Activator. If we call the Kinect, it depends if you call a Kinect a controller. If you don't call the Kinect a controller, the Activator,
because you actually don't press anything.
You don't.
No, I would say that the
Activator is at
Rob
least
is controller.
The Activator is at least has sections mapped to controller buttons.
Yes.
So from that standpoint, it kind of is.
But
with added functionality of the 2 different levels of sensor that can give you different inputs.
But see, the thing about the Kinect is, at least with the Xbox One Kinect, had games where you had to move things and hit things. It's weird.
I think we already decided that the light gun's a controller, Jan. I think we already settled that one.
I can go both ways on the Kinect. You've sold me on the light gun. Like
the Kinect, I'm a little sketchy on, right? Like,
yeah, I could go
like
either way on the Kinect.
The controllers on a VR headset are definitely controllers.
Yeah,
because there's buttons, there's features. You don't always use them. A lot of times you're using motion, but you use some of them in conjunction to grab things and do certain things, stuff like that. So those are definitely controllers.
And
the move controllers are because there's buttons and stuff you can use there.
Absolutely, I would still call this a controller.
But the Kinect tried to eliminate that to varying degrees of success. Sometimes it really worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yes, I will agree with that.
I consider that more of a motion mapping device than a controller personally.
And I could see that. I could see the argument being that the controller be something you have to physically hold.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm with that.
Yeah, I can like I could see both of those arguments. I wouldn't. I don't have a fence to come down on side to come down on that.
Yeah, Ryan's like the Kinect makes you a controller. That's what promotions told me.
It's sometimes, but
Big
to
Box
an
says anything you
extent,
interface
it
with the game may be a controller. Like I consider a keyboard and mouse a controller combination because
yes,
you use that to interface with the game, and in a lot of
Yes.
games, I find it superior to using like an actual controller.
Well, and if you pull a trigger to press a button, I think you press a mouse button to
Right.
I can see that.
My wife keeps bringing stuff in here. So,
All right, so
and I'm almost afraid to show this thing because mine's so grody because it was stored badly. My Wii U tablet thing.
There you go.
Which honestly, this thing for what it is, it works fine. With the right game, this thing is brilliant. Like for Lego City Undercover, this thing's amazing because the map is on here. The communication between you and the police station comes through here, and it leaves the rest of the screen available for just gameplay, and it moves a lot of the overlay stuff to here. And for that reason, it's brilliant with this.
Yeah.
And when they use this controller right, I'll stand by this as a controller. It was a very good idea.
It's got sticks, buttons.
Yeah. The problem with it is that most people just phoned it in. And so when they phoned it in and just used it as a regular controller, you'd be better off, and this isn't the same example, with something that looked like this. Now, this is the Switch Pro controller, but the Wii U Pro controller looks almost identical.
Yeah, it looks pretty the same.
Right. Now, you guys in the chat, Wolfpack, Dread, you guys sold me. Like I will Light Gun is a controller, but I would call a Power Glove a controller too because it has.
Oh no, I consider the Power Glove a controller.
You know,
I absolutely consider the Power controller. It's not a very successful controller.
No.
Because it was awkward to set up and program. It was awkward to use once you got it programmed. So it didn't do anything that the NES gamepad didn't do better, really.
Would you guys consider the Wii balance board a controller?
I kind of do in a way because you do have to like interface and use it by leaning and doing different things with it. It was pressure sensitive. It's a controller in the same way that I consider the Power Pad a controller.
Okay.
For that reason, and you could use it in conjunction with other things. Like I never used it this way because I didn't realize you could do it this way. But you could use it with the Wii version of Punch Out.
That's true.
So you could use a Wiimote and nunchuck and the balance board for Punch Out.
That sounds awful, by the way.
Which does sound awful.
In execution would be the worst way to play that game ever, but would be fun for a couple rounds because it'd be a neat little gimmick.
Yeah, I just can't imagine how incredibly exhausting and not nearly as responsive as. Just
I actually I want to record some footage of it because I picked up a VR version of Punch Out called Knockout League, and it's kind of exhausting to play. I'll be honest, it's fun, but it's kind of exhausting. Hey, Paste, how you doing?
What's up, Paste?
Is the best analog stick. I don't think I've ever messed with the Saturn Model 2 analog pads. What's up, Bestpack? Good to see you.
Those were decent.
By the way, this is another one of those 8-bit controllers, and I love this thing. This little thing's great. It emulates the SNES controller, but it's got more buttons on it that you can use, and it's got the analog sticks. This is a great little controller if you like the SNES format. And the SNES is probably like my second favorite controller design. It was so comfortable from the moment I held that.
That was a nice.
It was very hard to go back to an NES controller after that because of the rounded edges, just how well everything fit and was reachable in your hand. That it was very hard to go back. And the D-pad, which is the same D-pad they used here, is probably still one of my favorite D-pads.
Oh, Garvey's in the house.
Oh, we got Garvey in here.
Garvey.
Oh, what's up, Garvey?
Shut up.
Any
Garvey.
controller supported Sonic CD sucks. So he hates all the Genesis. I'm gonna pit my channel for like the 9th time tonight because I can.
Yes, please do. So I gotta show
because it's my channel. I'm gonna like
do we get to show bizarre controllers yet? Because I got.
Well, anytime you want to show bizarre controllers, do it because I got one.
You've got to see this. I think I told you guys about this. One of the I have to say, one of the cool things that I got to do as a game journalist is companies would really want me to review their products, even if you'd never heard of them before. So there was a company out there called Gamester, and I never heard of them before.
I vaguely remember Gamester.
Gamester 81.
Yeah. So
not only that, but I remember something else.
It's actually the model is Gamester. The company's called Radica. So I want to show you this. This bad boy is an Xbox.
What the?
This is an OG Xbox controller that was built for first-person shooters.
I kind of like that, and I kind of hate that
so
at the same time. I don't know what to think of this.
It is an acquired taste, and I will show you why. So this is the front of the controller. The LCD screen had some things on it that you could program in because it was programmable. But when I flip it around, and I'm going to turn it slowly so you guys can see.
Yeah, it looks like gun handles with the like triggers.
Which
is weird.
At the bottom, there are finger buttons with triggers here.
Okay,
so
I see what they're doing with that, and I understand it because it's the same concept as the paddles on the Elite Series controllers, which are great, by the way.
So if you notice, there are no face buttons on the front of the controller.
Oh, just hand that one here.
A, B, X, and Y are down here. So when you held it, you had your right and left trigger. And then and these were programmable. So if you couldn't figure it out, you had A, B, X, and Y.
Yeah.
And that is how you played. And that way both of your hands stayed on the sticks, and you never had to take your finger off the right analog stick to fire to jump or to strafe or to something like that. Everything was in your hands.
Yeah, and honestly, if you could ever get used to that, it's great on the series controllers. And I have something to show as well here in a little bit.
Okay, so
let's put you back at solo light. Do you
no,
show some more on it?
I don't think that the only other thing that there was on this was that again you could program things into it. So you could program the buttons if you didn't like the button layout. You could program the button layout. You could.
See, I like this because this is basically the Elite controller before the Elite controller was a thing.
Yeah, except again, the face buttons are completely gone. They're down here. It's wild. It took me a little while to get used to, but once I did, this is a deadly freaking controller if you can use it.
So I have something goofy to show everybody.
Oh, please.
So I have this.
Nice.
Which is
not
glorious.
goofy. That is freaking awesome.
I love this thing.
Holy
this has a really super nice latch on it that opens up the entire thing. So you can modify it. It's even got some storage for the cables and everything.
Ever call that goofy ever again.
It's goofy because it's only really good for Mortal Kombat. It's actually kind of hard to close from here. There we go. Okay. And it's got the traditional Mortal Kombat layout on it if you're really used to Mortal Kombat, including the run button, as you can see. I love this thing to death. I can barely find uses for it anymore, particularly with its plug-in. But it's probably one of the prettiest arcade sticks I own.
Holy crap.
I got this with, I want to say Mortal Kombat 9 when they relaunched. And the nicest thing about this is, and I don't know if you guys can tell this, I'll put this in solo mode again. This is padded on the bottom. That's like felt, and it's like a gel on there. So
what is that, velvet?
Yeah, it's velvet. So when you put this on your lap, it just kind of like settles in and it's very comfy. You don't really get a lot of weight out of it when you're using it that way. It just sits there very comfortably, unlike a lot of modern arcade sticks. this is just very comfortable to have sitting here. And it's really nice. I found that button layout a little weird because I'm used to more traditional arcade sticks.
Wow.
What is a velvet?
You got it's a thing. What is that, velvet? It's a Jewish accent thing. It's you got to be. It's an inside joke. Wolfpack gets it.
No, I get it. I can't remember what movie I heard that from.
Coming to America.
That's it.
Wait.
But yeah, this thing is probably the coolest arcade stick I own by far. Not the most useful, but very cool.
Here's my only weird controller that I brought. And it's the.
Oh wait, hang on.
Okay.
Let me put you in solo out. Here we go.
It's
what is that?
It's the Arkanoid controller for the Arkanoid on the NES. And that's all it does.
Oh, is it basically? It's like a paddle controller, right?
Yeah. So it's got a little paddle and a single button. I believe it also works on maybe Chase HQ also. Scrambles and I have been talking about this. So I don't know if he's still here, but I think
he was here earlier. I don't know if he still
was. And I think he tracked one down. I think he might have actually gotten like the whole package. But I think there actually is. It does look like a guitar pedal. I think there's actually a separate controller for Arkanoid 2. I'm just dredging up vague memories. I think this only works with one Arkanoid game, and there is another Arkanoid game that uses a separate controller. I could be wrong on that one, but that's probably the weirdest controller I have. It works really well for Arkanoid though, if that's what you want to play.
Yeah, I have one weird one that I can't pull out. That
I don't know why. I don't know how they didn't get sued by Atari.
Well, that paddle controller looks really different than the paddle controller in the Atari. That's
it does. No,
why.
I'm talking about Arkanoid itself.
Well,
Taito.
Oh, I think Arkanoid kind of got licensed.
So
a couple places, didn't it?
Yeah. So real quick, I wanted to show this to you because I know you would enjoy this.
I knew we were talking about that.
Oh, so Scrambles did manage to get the paddle. Yeah.
Nice. So this is for you, Nick.
I think I have that one. No, I've got the Tekken one. I've got the Tekken 7. I've got the Tekken 5 version of that same controller. That one's prettier though. I like that one better.
I thought that you would like this. It's Hori. Hori made some phenomenal sticks.
The only thing I don't like about those styles is they're so light that they tend to slide around a little bit. With an arcade stick, you want them to be kind of heavy so they don't move when you're really aggressive with them.
But this had a very slick bottom.
Yeah,
it has these, but they don't. If you're sitting, unless you're putting this on a table. So.
Yeah, if you put it flat on the table, it's fine.
Yeah, but I thought you'd like
still move it around a little bit. But those are pretty, man. I've got one of those for my 360, and it's fun.
Yeah, so I thought you'd like this one.
Matter of fact, I'm going to go grab something real quick. I've got something right behind me.
I'll just show off my last controller. This just kind of fell out of the box when I was digging out the other controllers. It's manufacturer is Champ, so I don't know if anyone actually knows. I don't even know where I got this. It's like a third-party Famicom controller. I don't know why you would want to model this after the Famicom controller. I like that it's got the turbo buttons. I said Famicom, but I think I actually probably meant they stole the design from the Master System controller, at least the first one, with the wire coming off the side. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Who ever thought that was actually a good idea? So
I don't know why you'd ever want that off on the side.
But
like that doesn't make a lot of sense.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat knows anything about. I looked for a date on the back. It's just completely blank. So I don't know.
Looks like a Tiger Electronics game.
It kind of does.
I wonder how it works though. I should plug it in and.
Is that the Champ Power Pad?
Sansu Hudson Famicom controller with a headphone jack. I haven't heard of that one. So I want you to put some velvet on the bottom of your Hori controller.
Yes. Put some velvet on it. All right. So what did you get? What did you grab there, Nick?
I got a couple things. One of which I've done a review on this channel actually. This is probably the weirdest one I have. This is a hitbox. This is the micro hitbox.
Yeah.
So the way this works is these buttons over here are like normal arcade buttons, right? And then these 3 here are back, forward, and down. And then the one that's just below here, if I can get to it, is jump. So this is a bizarre little controller that takes and makes stuff like arcade sticks feel like completely different, because you could do some weird things with it. Like you can press forward on it and tap down twice, and then hit punch and do a dragon uppercut.
Oh,
so you don't have to do the full motion.
Yeah.
You just go and then punch. And you can do dragon punches all day that way. Just doing like down and forward and punch will give you a fireball. So it does all sorts of like weird, bizarre stuff. And this one in particular is very small. Like you can see how tiny this thing is. Like I can actually fit this in a back pocket, which is kind of nice and kind of awkward at the same time. That controller looks like you spilled some checkers pieces on the board. Wolfpack says your controller looks like it's a one for a medical keyboard for a medical board. Oh, Games is in here. Hey, Games. And then the other one that I have, and this one's dusty as crap right now because I haven't tested it in a while, is the Elite controller. So I've got the Series 2 Elite controller that's got the paddles like we were talking about on the back. And this one's programmable. You can do like 2 or 3 different settings on this, along with the face buttons. And this has the recessed D-pad that's current on the Xbox. And this is, I can never make up my mind if I love this D-pad or if I don't love it. In some ways, I think it's brilliant because it's sunken and it's very easy to reach each angle. And on some ways, I find it awkward to do some things that I used to be able to do very easily on a normal D-pad. So I never know what to make of this thing. It's all very confusing to me.
That looks expensive.
It is expensive. It's very expensive.
Wow.
It's almost arcade stick expensive.
Yeah, they're like
they're very expensive.
$160.
Yeah, they're like $150. They're not cheap.
Nice.
All my controllers came from Goodwill. So
hey, you know what?
My Goodwill. Call me.
I've got a couple
Ashley,
other
how you doing?
just regular like oddity controllers that I picked up here and there. Like this is from, who makes this? I can't see this. Somebody. The SG ProPad 6. It's a Genesis controller.
Oh, I think I've seen one of those before.
Yep, but it has a slow motion button, and I don't remember why.
Motion button.
Yes.
Like I understand turbo buttons, but I don't know if I understand a slow motion button.
Yeah, and then you can. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with it. But as cool as this was, So remember Gamester, right? I had that. I had this for the PlayStation 2. This was I could do this without dropping my Leica.
Godspeed, sir. The
Gamester
tangle is real.
Wow.
Yes, the
Holy
Gamester. This was 2 controllers that were connected to this box, and you could screw with the other player. So, like on the box.
Why?
Yes,
Why would you want that?
Because you could be evil to each other.
Because you're a terrible person. That's why you want it.
On the box, you could turn on things that could absolutely screw with the other player, and then you would use the controller to hit it when you wanted to, and you guys could just fight each other. You could change their controls. You can knock them out of the game their controller out for like a 5-second period.
Tell me you can reverse their controls.
Yes.
For the heck.
See where it says switch?
That's
yes.
just mean.
Yes. And
That's
effect
just mean.
frequency. So you could set the effect frequency for how long you wanted the effect to last. Oh, this was crazy. That was crazy.
That's such a jerk move.
Yes. But I got to show you, and I think I've shown you this before, Nick. I think I've at least shown you. I don't know if I've shown this to you, Rob. This is my pride and joy of my entire.
Well, you got to have that extra challenge, man. If your controller's not badly calibrated or just goes completely out of whack, you're just not playing the game right.
That's the best part about playing with the Switch.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't hate the Switch. I do love the Switch. I need to play mine more. I haven't been playing it enough lately.
Well, you didn't get the Capcom Fighting Collection?
I was going to pick that up on Steam, actually, but I do want to get a physical copy of it. I may pick that up on the Switch just so I have a good physical copy. I got to find it, though. I haven't been out anywhere to buy anything, even this weekend.
It doesn't really seem like it got a wide release. Half the targets in my area, probably over half, didn't have it.
I may order it on Amazon, because I bet you they'll deliver it to the house.
All right, here's my pride. This thing is my darling.
There we go.
About, I don't know, 17 years ago, I ran into somebody at E3 called X Arcade, and they make full on.
I've seen those
arcade. It's like
an arcade cabinet set-in that you just plug into your TV.
Yep, it has this particular one. So it has a serial line on it, and you get adapters. Right now, I have adapters to the Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube, and they do actually make converters for modern consoles for this. These are made of actual arcade parts.
Yeah,
and I will tell you that, and this is the 2-player version. I will never forget. This is a $300 stick they sent me for review. It even has.
See, that's not that bad. I've got another arcade stick I could show you guys. It's around that price.
It even has.
That's not nearly that big
for pinball. If you wanted to use it for pinball.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I would actually use this stick for games like Karate Champ that had dual sticks.
Oh, I get you, because you got dual sticks on it. Yeah.
But everything about this is, I mean, it's hard to hear on this microphone, but everything is completely like you can take this apart.
Are they SAMWA buttons and
yes, and you can take them apart and you can replace the buttons and the switches and the sticks. It's all true arcade. Yes, that's it, and it's exactly what some people have done. They make.
It's not a true arcade stick unless you put some velvet on it, man.
That's right. They actually, if you go to, and I'm going to pimp these guys until the day I die. If you go to their website, they even make a model of this that has the trackball, so that you could do the trackball.
I've seen that. I've seen that one. Yeah.
I am telling you, and this thing has lasted me to this day, and I'm going to spend like the $200 to get the converter to make it run off of, because you can get a USB converter for this. And I am going to use this like on my Xbox One, on my PlayStation.
See, it doesn't have velvet, so they're not sold, sir.
That is of all of my controllers. That is my darling.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that one's slick. I've only got one other that's like that durable, and this thing was built like a tank because I broke one. I broke an arcade stick at one point.
I just brought one last one for display. This is probably my other favorite controller. I think the PS3 is probably the climax, the pinnacle of the PlayStation controllers.
This is a Quanya Dragon, and this is kind of a monster.
Yeah, it is.
This thing's like almost a $300 controller. It's got the same kind of buttons that you're talking about.
Wow.
On it. This thing opens up as well so that you can kind of modify it, but it's harder to modify, specifically because.
Make your screen big.
Screwed into it.
Make your screen big.
Hang on.
Solo.
Yep, I'm going. Okay, here we go. So when you open it up, you can actually see it's got kind of like a dragon texture.
Wow.
A dragon scale texture with that on there. And this thing is almost like aluminum. So it's like machined. So this thing's monstrously heavy. With a great layout. And the only thing I like about it is the buttons are here for everything. And they're kind of tiny, so it's kind of awkward. And then the touchpad's here. Other than that, it works really well. The cord doesn't disconnect, but it attaches.
No, but I love that you can wrap it up.
It attaches to that and just kind of wraps around, right?
Pat,
it's got some like rubberized part on the bottom here, so it doesn't slide anywhere when it's in your lap. It's not velvet. It's not velvet, but. But I bought this because I wanted like a very tanky thing. And this thing is just huge. It takes up like my lap and then some when I have it sitting down. It doesn't really go anywhere. but it's very fast. It's very, very responsive. So it's been a very good arcade stick overall. It's
Damn.
probably the best one that I have.
That's an awesome stick.
Damn, does that have security cameras and the GPS too?
Wolfpack said, "Calm down, everyone. No, actual
dragons are actually
dragons
hurt the making of the stick.
See, Scepter gets it. It needs
It
lap
needs
fans.
lap fans.
It needs the Nyko Airflow lap fan for when you get the sweaty legs. That is a beast.
So I've been an arcade stick fan for a while. I have a number of other inexpensive ones, and I have one other expensive one, which is the Mad Catz Tournament 2, which is broken. I need to put a new fight board in it. I need to just rebuild it, is what I need to do. I've got cables and I've got the board for it, but it needs a separate board. That pissed me off when I realized I needed it, so I haven't rebuilt it. I need to just clamp down and do that. But yeah, those are the three main ones I have. The Tournament 2 by Mad Catz was actually a really, really nice one for me for a long time and really durable. And then I think I had stored something in it and it did some damage to the control, and I've never been able to get it to work again since. So it's one of those that I broke transporting things by putting things in it because I thought I had enough storage space to store something in there. I was wrong. So I damaged it that way, and that's on me. And I'm kind of abusive to arcade sticks anyway. I get pretty aggressive with them. So
As much
that,
as you
that
rage
one being
on
a
games?
tank helps.
Yeah, as much as you rage on things, yes.
Well, just an arcade stick in general, you're going to get fairly aggressive with in the long term anyway. So they need to be kind of pretty durable overall, at least in my opinion. Anyway, so
Now, did you guys did you guys do racing wheels?
I was never big into racing games, so no,
Yeah.
I never had a lot of
Right.
racing wheels.
I've got a couple.
Closest I have is that Wii thing, which is not really a racing wheel.
So, I was a big racing guy. Well, I still am to a great extent. I don't have a current racing wheel because, well, I'm married and I don't have money. But when I was doing it, so for the PlayStation 3, and this actually might run on PC because it's USB. This is a Logitech force feedback. Logitech had some amazing force feedback.
Logitech still makes some pretty decent controllers and stuff. They don't
Yeah.
do it as much now as they used to.
And this had clamps, so you clamped it on your desk.
I was about to ask, does it
Yeah.
have any clamps?
Yeah, and these.
Does it have the clamps?
Yes, it has the clamps. But my favorite, and I gotta show both pieces.
Hold on,
was
here we
my
go.
Xbox
All right.
360 wheel.
Okay, so that's the one that's actually got pedals and everything with it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this had pedals, and this was, I mean, when Forza Motorsport 3 came out, this was like the hot wheel, and this actually also could clamp. It could clamp to a desk, or it had, not so velvet, but it had rubber, so you could sit it on your lap, and you see it's curved, so it actually contoured, believe it or not, to your lap, so you could hold it. Let me get this out of the way. I feel like I'm on QVC. So you could actually sit it on your lap, but the force feedback on this thing was amazing.
Force feedback was really cool back in the day. I had a Microsoft Flight Stick that had force feedback on it.
The
And
Sidewinder, my Sidewinder.
yeah, that thing
was.
was crazy back in the day.
Oh. So yeah, so this is. I'm actually gonna take this
What
upstairs.
company was peddling that?
This was official. This was Microsoft's official wheel. This is first party.
Yeah, actually, there's a guy apparently that does fighting tournaments with a controller like that. I don't know how the hell he does it, but whatever works for him. And Jan, the Amico controller is actually really nice. It's very different than all the stuff we've shown tonight, but it's very, very comfortable. It's very easy to use, and it works really well. Oh, wow. Okay, so we need to wrap up soon.
Okay. What happened?
I just read that it's apparently broiling where Matthews is at.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that explains why he's glistening right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he is definitely glistening. I think I have shown off all my.
Yeah, I've shown off a good substantial amount of what I own actually that's current, and I'm gonna have a hell of a time putting all this back away.
I know. Well, that's why I have this crate here. I mean, I've got one more arcade stick. I'm not taking it out of the crate. It's made by Shadow Blade. It's made by I don't know who it's made by, but it's a PS2 stick.
Yeah, but it's a dry heat.
Doesn't look like it.
It still sucks in this area.
Yes.
It's not too bad in Colorado today, but Arizona may be radically different right now.
Feel like I had a lap add-on to one of my logic. Yeah. Oh, big
I'm afraid to see where that one's gonna go.
A zombie. Do you have the
$1
GameCube Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller?
And if so, could you please show us a picture of it, please?
Actually, I can find a picture of that.
I need to find the old.
It's
ridiculous, is what it is. It's
California
crazy
hot
ridiculous.
is a little different than Georgia hot.
Yeah.
I think, for what it's worth.
I need to find a Saturn racing wheel. The Saturn racing wheel you actually put between your legs, and it had a long enough stem that you held it and you used your legs to hold it in place, but instead of sitting on your lap, it came in under your legs. It actually worked really well. Oh, is
that it?
Yeah.
I thought it was different than that, but clearly it's not.
This might be.
I thought the blade was actually...
It's Resident Evil right there.
It does. How the hell do you use that?
I have no idea.
I don't know if you're supposed to. I think it functions, but I think it would just kind of...
It definitely functions as a controller. Now, whether or not you would ever want to use it as a controller is a different story entirely.
And also, that's the PlayStation one. So I was actually picturing the GameCube one. I don't know if there's any difference, but that's the only one I knew was the GameCube one. And I could have sworn that the actual chainsaw blade part was just ridiculously short. Like it just almost like a hint.
It is kind of ridiculously short, huh? Chainsaw controller GameCube. Here we go. Okay, here's the one you're thinking of. Save that.
I mean, it's great to have on your desk, but
it's a great shelf piece. I can't imagine actually. I'd like to try it, but yeah. There's no way that is
no.
There we go.
Remotely comfortable to use.
No.
It kind of looks like they tried to make it as functional as possible, but
yeah, they tried to make it functional, making it a chainsaw. But you can see there's like a trigger here,
and
then there's another one there, and it looks like there's one on the handle here. But then you've got the C stick and the A buttons and everything like that. So I have no idea how you use this thing.
How?
Again, I want to try.
Hey, Eugene, good to see you, man.
Cut off a real
Wii racing rule, no connection needed. Absolutely.
Gotcha, Big Block. Okay.
But yeah, I have like no idea how you would actually use this thing. It just looks like a glorious little set piece to have sitting up on a shelf somewhere.
Exactly. It looks like something
that's more what I would have it for, would be just to have it displayed on a shelf.
Yes, just to say, look what I've got.
Just to kind of promote Resident Evil 4 to yourself.
There was another one that kept home. I want to say it was ProPad. There was a weird Capcom controller that had the buttons angled like this, while the D-pad was angled like this. So the D-pad would be angled in, and then this would be flat. It was bizarre. I can't remember exactly what it was called now. And I had one of those as when I was younger too. Oh, here it is. This thing. This I played with, and I never quite got the concept of it when I had it. In theory, it was supposed to be faster, but I do not think it executed properly.
It must have been how you held it.
The only thing I can think of is you would hold the controller in one hand, and then you would lay your fingers across the top, right?
Right.
And then you would play that way. That's the only way I can think of to make this thing work. Because I can't imagine trying to hold it and just use your thumb for those buttons. I can't imagine that working.
Oh, you'd have to grip it somehow.
Well, you'd hold on to this handle part here,
and then
use the D-pad, and then you just lay your fingers across here,
like this.
Yeah, like how he's holding it like that is how you would hold it, and then you just lay your fingers across here. That's the only way I could think of. I can't make sense of it any other way, and I owned one, and I could never figure out how to use it.
What's it called? The Pad Soldier.
Pad Soldier.
I'm checking out a.
It's a very bizarre controller design, and I don't think it ever really took off. Actually, I can guarantee you it never took off because I never saw another one like it again.
Hang on, I'm watching somebody hold it on YouTube.
The controller for lumberjacks. And yeah, it's at least
that
like $300
controller was about $300 the cheapest.
Yeah.
That controller was made so your friend could beat you with his regular controller. You have to break your hand in 3 places to even use the controller.
Oh, look this up. Here's a weird one, and then we'll let Rob go.
Yeah, because he's melting in front of us.
Yeah, I could see that. Look up the ASCII. Well, I forgot they made some decent stuff. ASCII
they did.
Stick Super L5. Apparently, it is a one-handed SNES controller that only came out in Japan.
What is this craziness?
It's a one-handed controller.
A picture of this.
Raris had it on his channel.
What?
Yes. Apparently, it is one-handed.
I'm not sure where to go with this. I'm gonna have to make note of this for the stream because Wednesday you guys will see the next thing that's coming up on the channel. That's another new series on the Geekstorian channel, and it talks about odd stuff like this and how it worked and whether or not it really worked at all. So this might be one I have to visit because this is bizarre. Here's another weird one, and that looks a little better because of the way you hold it.
Right,
it's not
so
just like palm.
Apparently, that's the original L5.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Scepter said,
still have no idea.
He thinks it's for disabled gamers.
Okay, that would make sense.
And that would make sense because like Graphic God is
Phoenix.
Graphic God's one-handed. He games one-handed.
The Tamagotchi is that
it looks like a Tamagotchi. Is that a life alert?
Yeah, well, I've seen all sorts of controllers that were really kind of designed more for disabled people. They made one that almost looks like it almost looks like something out of DJ Hero. It's got 2 discs and stuff like that.
Yeah, Microsoft makes it.
Yeah, they can't really use a full-on controller, and it's a way for them to actually still play games with not being able to hold an actual controller.
We have some. I mean, again, there's a few. Graphic God, Cerebral Paul, those guys, and they do a great job trying to
actually. A guy that pops up on Twitter a lot is Handy Capable, and he
doesn't he play with his chin?
Yeah, he plays with his chin and a little straw. That I'd be really curious to learn how his setup works. Yeah,
he's impressive.
But also there's another guy and he's a speed runner who I forgot what his handle is, but he has muscular dystrophy, I think, and he plays one hand. And he plays with a controller like this, one hand. He just has to set the be able to program the buttons for a left-handed layout. But and he's at speedrunner level.
That's
Wow.
insane.
So I mean,
yeah, the one guy that plays with a chin, he's beaten some games that I can't even begin to tackle.
Adventure Island.
Yeah.
He's beat Castlevania. I think he's beaten Ninja Gaiden. He's beaten TMNT, like the original NES one. And that kind of stuff's insane to me. The fact that you can do that with like your chin, I can't even do that with like two hands, much less with like my chin, man. Like some of the stuff he's approached and beat is just phenomenal to me at any level, much less for somebody who literally can't use their hands. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to end it here, guys. Rob's melting literally in front of us, so we should let him get out of his garage or his area and let him get somewhere where he has some air conditioning as he chugs all the water in the world.
Yes. I'm glad you hydrated.
I drank all this water on tonight on stream. So
glad you hydrated, sir.
Yeah, I don't even have to pee yet, for what it's worth.
Well, that's because you've been sweating as much as you've been drinking, sir.
Right.
So thank you guys for popping in. I'm going to try to resume regular streaming this week. I'm going to try to do something tomorrow. I may try to do something. I may or may not do anything on the rest of this week on the channel. I don't have anything else ready for this particular channel. I put a lot of work into getting the other channel up and going and getting stuff scheduled for it. So I'll be back to trying to make some stuff for this, but I was intending to do more streaming on this channel than anything. But Thursday, I think I'm on doing something with Panda Sub, so I won't be able to stream then. If I don't stream tomorrow, I might do it on Wednesday or something like that. But I'll try to at least do one more stream this week. That way I can get back to kind of getting into things. The idea was to start doing regular streams on here. I might do a night where I do retro streams. I might do one where I do more modern games. I might do one where I do Evercade. And this just becomes like one where I can kind of hang out with you guys and we can chat, and its metrics will be based more of streaming because YouTube seems to hate it when you do both on a channel. It seems to really, really, really dislike that. So I may move this one into more of a streaming channel with some product reviews here and there as they come up. So we're gonna see how that goes. I haven't done too much with that, but I'm gonna get off of here so everybody else can get off of here. What do you guys have, real quick?
NLG show tomorrow.
Yes.
No friggin' idea what we're talking about.
That sounds normal.
Yeah, it sounds normal. I have no idea. We'll figure it out in the morning. And then on Wednesday, I think I'm going to either Wednesday or Thursday. I got to figure out which is the better day. I am going to do some Atari streaming for Atari.
Nice.
We didn't even mention it is Atari's 50th birthday.
It is Atari's 50th birthday.
It is. And I'm going to be doing some. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do the native VCS games yet, or if I'm going to go in and load up RetroArch and do some of my and go nostalgic back to my Atari 8-bit computer roots, where I used to play my Atari 800 and 1200 XL, and some of the.
I may
awesome
do an Atari
games.
9. I have a bunch of like Evercade cards now that have Atari games on them.
There you go.
So you guys can watch me like try to figure out, well, how the hell you even played this game, because that's how most Atari games were.
Yeah. So that's the plan. And then we'll see what else.
And Rob, you just dropped the video today.
Yeah, my
Mega Man and Base, right?
My monthly video dropped today. So.
Video. You did more than one this month. Because you just dropped the other one not that long ago, actually.
Because that was just one playthrough that I recorded all at once, so I just broke it up into a couple parts. So I guess it's kind of a cheater.
Got that going on. Do you have anything else going on?
Stuff that I've recorded and started to edit, but it's not coming out in the next week or so for sure. So
yeah,
nothing to promote other than, well, that was it. Other than the video I had today, which at least wraps up the Mega Man and Base playthrough.
Yep, I got to finish that one because I really enjoyed that playthrough. It almost makes the game look palatable. And from playing it, it's really not that palatable. But some of the designs on it are actually kind of cool. Some of the Robot Master designs are actually really neat looking.
Yeah, I do like I I ended up liking it a whole lot more than I thought I did. And it was the Game Boy Advance port that we got that left a really, really bad taste in my mouth. And I think everyone's mouth, actually. So I just kind of, for the longest time, just wrote it off as it's just a bad game. I beat it once and that was it. But playing the Super Famicom version is just a much better way to experience the game for sure than the Game Boy Advance version.
See, the main reason I'd want to play the Game Boy Advance game is so I could actually understand what the hell was going on and be able to read the text, because the Famicom version looks significantly better from the way the screen's laid out.
Well, if you are going to be emulated anyway, just get the translation patch.
Fair enough. I may see if I can find that, and that might be the way I actually try to play that game. I'll see if I can dig that up. Maybe I'll actually give that one a go. Not on stream immediately, though. As far as what I've got going on, I have mostly stuff on the new channel. I set up about 3 weeks worth of content on that, so it's going to have 3 videos a week for about 3 weeks. I am currently working on getting a History of Punch-Out video together. I'm probably going to work on some other short-form content, which is the majority of what that channel is going to have, because it's easier to get multiple videos out a week when I do like 5-6 minute videos. And keep it to that. So it's nice and concise. It gives you a little bit of information. It doesn't eat too much of your day, and then you go about the rest of your day. But I feel like the stuff resonates enough that somebody could go back and watch it just to refresh themselves on that particular moment or topic. So I like it from that standpoint. It doesn't feel like throwaway content to me that I just did just to get something out. It feels like the kind of thing that people could maybe go back and watch a few times and still enjoy. It's the kind of content that I like doing. And I wanted a place to showcase that. The Tyson one, probably another couple of days out, getting that done. Good, because I'm actively working on that one. It's just under a 12-minute video, because I go through the arcade versions, a couple spin-offs, some Game & Watch stuff, and then all the way through like the Wii. And then I talk a little bit about some of the other things that dropped that were associated to it, and touch briefly on some of the games that it influenced, but I don't really go into too much detail on those. If people really want to go into details on those, like Ready to Rumble, Knockout League, stuff like that, I can dig into those a little bit more, or, games that were influenced by, Punch-Out, the series, that kind of thing. But I stuck mostly to Punch-Out itself on this one to kind of keep it tight and concise. And, so I'm still working through the editing on that and getting all that kind of laid out and getting that ready to go. So it's probably another week or so out, I would guess, of editing here and there. Trying to take some time as I have time during the week to either write on something or edit something together a little bit. That way I can kind of keep ahead of things, and there's always continuous content on there. Like I said before, most of the game history stuff, if you guys missed some of it before on this channel, it will be moving to that channel, so it will launch on that channel. It'll be slightly tweaked with like the intro that I have for that channel and things of that nature. So it'll look a little bit more tailored to that channel. But a lot of it's just getting content moved over there, and I figured rather than just dropping it in bulk, it would be easier for me to modify them a little bit at a time and then launch them there, like they're almost a new launch. So I can tweak the thumbnails, and I can tweak a few things there here and there that bug me about it on review, and make sure it's just kind of clean and nice, and then re-upload it and get it up over there for you guys. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. That's going to be much more focused of a channel than this channel is, and I'm hoping that will help that content really find its ground. That's really what I want that channel to do, is to help that content that I know some of you guys loved and some of you guys didn't really bother with it because it wasn't your bag, to help it find more of an audience that's really into that kind of stuff. So if you guys are into that, that's probably where you're going to want to go for that, for the streams, the podcast, and product reviews and stuff like that. That's going to be here. So that'll be here. And I'll post the link one more time for you guys before we get out of here. And then I definitely got to get the heck out of here, because I'm literally watching my friend die in front of me. He's literally dying. Distracting the female gamers. So that is the new channel I'm talking about. It's Geek Storian. That's my new, more history focused channel. I'm going to put what the channel's about. Probably an intro video up there soon, but I wanted to go ahead and launch it, and I got it close enough to where I was like, screw it, let's launch it, and I'll figure out the rest of it later. It has one video right now because I didn't want to drop 3 or 4 videos in one day. I don't feel like that works. So that's it. That's what I've got going on. That's what I've been working on the last couple weeks. I'm trying to organize things, get things a little bit cleaner, get things to be a little bit faster on editing, and find a way to bring you guys more content more reliably and more content that I'm really more enthusiastic about doing and having fun doing. So that's that. But with that said, we're going to dart out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out, and until next time, happy gaming.
Not
Bye,
everyone.
gamers.